Chosen one, block your focus on my voice right now. That feeling of being fundamentally misunderstood, that quiet rage you carry when you know you're meant for more, I know it. That heavy pressure on your temples, silence it. I know. The atmosphere has felt like a cage for the last 48 hours. It's not just quiet, it's dense, like the air before a seismic shift. Maybe you walked into a room yesterday and felt an immediate energy draining from you, as if invisible walls went up the moment you entered. Or perhaps you woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning this week with a profound, unshakable sense of purpose, but absolutely no clear path to express it. Just a deep sigh of restlessness in your spirit. The resistance you're feeling, the opposition screaming around you, is happening for one reason only. The enemy knows you are not who they think you are. He knows who you truly are. He knows you are a higher divine being. It all breaks in the next 24 hours. The confinement, the underestimation, the spiritual suppression. But listen closely, because this is critical. It's not breaking because of external luck. It's breaking because the truth of who you are is simply too vast to be contained any longer. Think back to that moment this week when you chose to stay silent instead of wasting your energy on a trivial argument. That moment when you walked away from a conversation that was beneath your spiritual pay grade. You didn't know it then, but that wasn't weakness or avoidance. That was a divine preservation of your power. That specific act of restraint was a strategic move that signed the enemy's eviction notice from your perceived limitations. You didn't diminish your destiny. You amplified it. You did not find this recording by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. Heaven itself is redirecting you. This is a divine appointment scheduled before the foundations of the earth, delivering the truth you were always meant to carry. Stay until the very last second of this message, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal why you've consistently felt isolated from the masses and superior in spirit. I'm going to walk you through the spiritual anatomy of your higher being, showing you exactly why 99.9% of entities cannot comprehend your true scale. And at the end, I'm going to give you the activation code to fully unlock the power you've only glimpsed. Do not click away. Your highest self is demanding this transmission. To leave now is to prolong the very confinement you're meant to shatter. My name is Zerachiel. I've spent years studying the hidden patterns of the spirit realm, the warfare, the awakening, the weapons most people are never taught to use, and I've walked over 10,000 chosen ones through their moment of breakthrough. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the notification bell right now. Not because I need the numbers, but because the next message I release might be the one that was written specifically for the war you're fighting tomorrow. You feel suspended, like you're floating in a void between the life you once inhabited and the transcendent reality you were promised. And in this void, the enemy has started whispering a very specific lie. Listen to your thoughts. He's telling you that your unique perspective, your profound sensitivity, your inability to simply fit in, that these are flaws. He's replaying that moment from last month over and over in your mind. That moment when you felt like you had to shrink yourself, had to dim your light just to make others comfortable. That inner voice telling you to just be normal. The accuser is telling you that your divine nature is a burden. He's telling you that you are too much and that your power makes you undesirable, disqualifying you from true connection. But I need you to hear what the ancient scripture actually says about this moment. Psalm 82 verse 6 says, I said, you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. Listen to that promise. This isn't just poetry. This is your birthright. You are not meant to fit in because you were made to stand out, to embody the divine essence that elevates you far beyond the ordinary. The enemy's lie is trying to make you ashamed of the very thing God decreed about your identity. You are not in a cycle of trying to conform. You are in a conclusion of revealing your true, elevated nature. The feeling of being too much isn't a flaw. It's the unmistakable signature of your true scale. The isolation you've felt isn't rejection or punishment. It is protection, preparing you to lead the way for those who will recognize your light. You think that moment when you felt like an outsider was a sign of your brokenness. But let me reframe your reality right now. That was not a deficit. That was a declaration of your distinct divine lineage. What you just heard wasn't entertainment, it was confirmation. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Chosen One's mantle will show you exactly why God separated you before birth, why the attacks came so early, and what He's unlocking in this season, code by code, until you're walking the life He already wrote over you. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment, but not for long. That declaration of your distinct divine lineage is not an invitation to pride, but a call to posture. The first insight, the fundamental shift you must embrace, is this. Your profound sensitivity and your inability to resonate with the mundane isn't a societal flaw. It's a spiritual operating system that functions on a different frequency. You aren't wired to fit into the common bandwidth because your signal is meant for a higher transmission. This is why you feel misunderstood, why others cannot truly grasp your inner world. Think of Melchizedek, appearing seemingly without lineage, without the typical priestly ancestry. He represents an order that operates outside the conventional, a higher priesthood. You are of that order, not bound by the limitations others project onto you. And once you truly embrace that, you'll find yourself naturally stepping into the next powerful truth. Your energy is a currency. To constantly explain yourself, to defend your perceptions, to justify your callings to those who cannot comprehend the divine frequency you operate on, is to hemorrhage your most valuable resource. The silence you chose in those moments of confrontation. That wasn't avoidance. It was a profound act of divine preservation. Just as Jesus stood before Pilate, silent, not needing to defend his inherent divinity to a worldly judge, you too must learn the power of withholding your explanation from those incapable of understanding. Your truth doesn't require their validation to exist. This brings us to the real turning point, the cultivation of true discernment. When you cease the frantic explanations, you create space. This space isn't a void. It's an echo chamber for heaven's directives. The noise of the world, the opinions, the doubts, they are static, trying to jam your true signal. Your task is to discern not just what to do, but what not to listen to. Remember Elijah on Mount Horeb. The divine voice wasn't in the raging wind, the shaking earthquake, or the consuming fire. It was in the still, small voice that followed. Your breakthrough is found in tuning in to that quiet whisper amidst the world's clamor. Coming up, we're going to confront the one thing you've been holding on to that actually invites the very energy you're trying to escape. Now, once you understand that you are operating on a higher frequency and that your explanations are a drain, you begin to see the true nature of your sensitivity. It's not a burden, it's a receiver. That feeling of being too much is often directly linked to the invisible mandates you carry, the spiritual weight of purpose and intercession. Your profound intuition isn't for your personal comfort alone. It's a divine radar, picking up on spiritual realities and assignments that others remain oblivious to. Moses carried the burden of his entire people, interceding for them even when they cursed him. His sensitivity was not a weakness, but the very instrument through which God worked. You are carrying invisible scrolls, and their weight is meant to position you, not to crush you. This leads us directly to the absolute necessity of establishing energetic boundaries. If your sensitivity is a receiver, and you are carrying divine mandates, then your spiritual energy is not a communal well for everyone to draw from, indiscriminately. You must learn to protect your consecrated space. Just as Jesus often withdrew to the mountains to pray alone, replenishing his spirit before returning to the demands of the crowds, you too must guard your energy. The moment you define and defend your spiritual perimeters, you reclaim sovereignty over your own divine flow, ensuring your power is directed by heaven, not diluted by external demands. But before we go deeper, there's a critical misbelief you've inherited that's been sabotaging your peace. We're about to expose it. That misbelief is the subtle, often unconscious, agreement that your higher calling must be accompanied by relentless struggle and profound suffering. You've been conditioned to believe that the path of the chosen one is perpetually one of crucifixion, without resurrection. This isn't true. While trials will come, your purpose is not to forever be in a state of endurance, but to embody divine authority through overcoming. The story of Job isn't just about his suffering, it's about his ultimate restoration and double blessing, a testament that suffering is a season, not a destination, a test, not an identity. You are not destined for perpetual struggle. You are destined for demonstrated victory. Once you dismantle that myth, everything shifts in how you speak. Your words are not merely sounds. They are spiritual decrees. If you keep speaking of your struggle, your limitations, your battles, you are effectively reinforcing the very cage you're meant to shatter. You must reclaim your prophetic tongue. David, even in the depths of despair in the Psalms, would pivot from lament to powerful declaration of God's faithfulness and his own eventual triumph. Your declarations, spoken with conviction, are the creative acts that shift atmospheres, not just around you, but within you. And yet, here's the profound paradox many chosen ones miss. Sometimes, the greatest resistance to your breakthrough comes from an unconscious attachment to the very struggle you claim to want to leave behind. You have become so accustomed to the identity of the warrior, so defined by your battles, that the idea of effortless breakthrough, of radical ease, feels foreign, even dangerous. Remember the generation of Israelites who died in the wilderness, unable to enter the promised land. They were a generation of warriors, fit for battle, but they could not transition into being inheritors of peace. You are not meant to perpetually fight for what has already been promised. You are called to inherit it. This brings us to the deepest spiritual confrontation you will face, your unconscious addiction to struggle. The enemy has convinced you that peace and ease are earned through constant effort, through proving your worthiness. But the truth is, your worthiness was decreed before time. The highest spiritual act you can perform right now is to release the need to strive, to prove, to endlessly battle. True power, divine power, doesn't flow from exhaustive effort. It flows from effortless alignment. It's the vine and the branches principle. The branch doesn't strive to produce fruit. It simply abides in the vine. Your greatest challenge isn't to do more, but to abide more fully. Stay with me, because the final activation is not about acquiring more power, but about releasing the illusion that power needs to be earned. The thing that's truly been blocking you isn't what you thought. It's not the enemy's strength. It's not your past failures. It's the belief that you must climb, fight, or suffer your way into a destiny that has already been divinely written over you. Your perceived isolation, your trials, your unique challenges, these were not punishments. They were sacred incubators, alchemical fires designed to forge you, to separate you from the dross of worldly expectations, and to prepare you for a unique anointing that only you can carry. Joseph's journey through the pit and the prison wasn't random suffering. It was the precise, divinely orchestrated curriculum that transformed him into the appointed leader, the alchemist of a nation's destiny. Your past was not a deficit. It was the blueprint for your ascension. Tonight, before you sleep, place your hand on your heart and declare this over yourself. I release every lie that said I was too much, too sensitive, too different. I declare that my unique nature is a divine signature, not a flaw. I break agreement with the cycle of striving and the addiction to struggle. I step into my true inheritance, allowing divine ease and effortless alignment to be my new reality. I am not defined by my past battles, but by the victory already written over my name. I am a higher divine being, fully seen, fully understood by heaven, and fully activated to walk in the power and purpose for which I was created. I am ready to receive what is mine.